Greetings, mortals. Welcome to Neshae Reads SCP-0916, Man's Best Friend. Hallelujah, my friends, there's a dog in these woods. Let us bask in how awesome this one should be because there's a good boy in this story and hope that it isn't utterly horrible in any way. Just a really good puppy.
Object Class: Safe.
So far so good.
Special Containment Procedures: SCP-916 is to be kept in a locked, soundproof kennel of appropriate size for a dog of its breed. It is to be fed a species-appropriate meal twice per day and its kennel is to be cleaned regularly. Personnel should attempt to provide stimulation to SCP-916 through the provision of a companion dog in its containment area and/or regular exercise in a larger containment area. While this is not mandatory, insufficient stimulation has previously resulted in physical illness for SCP-916.
No. No lonely depressed puppy. Happy, playful good boy.
Personnel in contact with SCP-916 are advised to wear noise-canceling devices to avoid unnecessary contact with SCP-916-1. Should SCP-916 unexpectedly enter its active state, it may be safely transported to and locked in its kennel. Test subjects should be checked for any potential implements of self-harm before testing, and guard personnel are to maintain at least one non-lethal means of subduing test subjects. Description: SCP-916 is an adult, male golden retriever. It is identical to any other dog of its breed, other than its exceptional longevity. Researchers and test subjects report its demeanor to be exceptionally friendly.
Have you ever met a non-friendly golden retriever? They are the physical embodiment of hugs and joy.
Anomalous effects occur between 15 minutes and 1 hour after initial contact with a human subject. SCP-916 will begin this active phase by becoming docile and attempting to lie down next to the subject. After several seconds of immobility, SCP-916 will begin to completely suppress any pain felt by individuals in contact with it. Subjects report this effect to decrease with distance, and to cease at 12 meters from the object.
Real good boy.
Within 3 minutes of beginning its active phase, one or more instances of SCP-916-1 will appear. SCP-916-1 manifest as localized human voices which originate approximately 2 meters away from the subject. These voices may be recorded and interacted with by the subject, but will generally not appear if multiple personnel are present. Universally, SCP-916-1 claim to be individuals who have been helped to die by SCP-916. These voices are able to provide names and detailed information which corroborate this claim, of which 91% have been confirmed. SCP-916-1 has been shown to use a wide variety of tactics to attempt to persuade the subject to commit suicide in the presence of SCP-916.
And there it is. Bubble busted. You just ruined my good feelings.
Generally, these attempts can be broken down into 4 phases. Phase 1. SCP-916-1 makes verbal contact with the subject, generally using soft, gentle tones. 916-1 will allay the common fear response to disembodied voices by explaining that they are invisible. These voices introduce themselves and attempt to establish rapport with subject. Phase 2. If not already aware of the effect, 916-1 will point out the reduction or elimination of pain in the subject. Voices often ask the subject to bite his or her own tongue or to pinch him or herself to demonstrate the effect. 916-1 attributes this to SCP-916's healing powers. Phase 3. 916-1 attempts to persuade the subject that suicide is a better option than their current condition. This often includes vivid descriptions of a heaven-like afterlife, assurance that the subject need not worry about conditions in the physical world, and encouragement to do so immediately in SCP-916's presence to avoid pain during the short trip home.
I mean, I can see the logic, but something's still fishy here.
Phase 4. 916-1 suggests viable options for suicide, depending on the subject's circumstance. Researchers are commonly advised to thrust a writing instrument into their own eye sockets. D-class subjects are told to make a false escape attempt so as to be shot by security. Records indicate that severing the tongue and bleeding out was once regularly suggested. However, during an early test this was attempted by the subject and medical personnel were able to save the victim. This method has not been suggested by any instance of SCP-916-1 since. Any phase may be interrupted by sufficiently disturbing SCP-916 itself or simply leaving the room, returning it to an inactive state. Note: due to Incident-3C, instances of SCP-916-1 now have in-depth knowledge of Foundation procedures and personnel. Since that event, SCP-916-1-42, 43 and 44 have consistently informed all Class D test subjects of Foundation termination schedules in an attempt to persuade the Class D subject to end it now, painlessly. Due to the efficacy of this technique, testing on Class D subjects is currently suspended. Footnotes: SCP-916 was recovered by the Foundation on August 26, 1977. To date, 44 separate instances of SCP-916-1 have been identified. Assuming that these events did occur in the presence of SCP-916, the object would be at least years old. Incident-3C resulted in the deaths of numerous personnel. Of those, 3, D-21943, D-21978, and Dr. Christopher were within 20 meters of SCP-916 at the time of their deaths. These personnel have been identified as SCP-916-1-42, 43, and 44 respectively. SCP-916 was not directly involved.
Well, of course not. He's just a good boy doing his best.